Rod. To my right,
my boy Rob.
And to my
Beerless John.
left, we got Beerless John. John looks totally different than he did last week. And I keep growing hair that looks ridiculous. Somebody gonna look down too many times.
Must shave May.
See this. But
I might get a haircut soon, sure.
I've been trying to thug it out, you know, like no shave November. I feel like when I'm scruffy, this is as scruffy as it gets for me. When I'm scruffy, I work harder.
That's scruffy.
This is as scruffy as it gets.
Scruffy for you.
This is scruffy.
Oh man.
John to my left
I
is
gave in.
clean beamed himself and has
crazy.
already started growing back more than
Already.
So yeah, we got a good sports show for you guys here today. We talk about a few things. We're gonna start with the college NCAA have a new proposal that includes players being able to sign agents, getting paid for their likeness, social media deals, and a lot more other things. We're gonna get into that. Trouble in Paradise, or maybe Trouble in Cheesehead, where it looks like there may be some news with Aaron Rodgers in the future.
Rotten cheese.
Right, rotten cheese that he holds in Green Bay with Jordan Love. Also, we have The Last Dance. 2 more episodes of The Last Dance came out last Sunday. We're going to talk about those and must-see TV. And then there was we're going to do one of our segments called Like, Love It, Hate It. And we're going to throw in some questions, some sports news. I know it's not a lot, but some sports news that's been going on throughout the week. We're going to give our quick pieces on that. And lastly, 5 players. We got 5 players that had really good careers, but really short careers due to injury. And we're gonna debate, talk about, chop it up as to who we think would have had the better career had it not been for injury. So, big show, big topics. We're gonna jump right into it, man. NCAA. Players getting paid, not by the schools, but players are about to get paid, and this means so much. If this proposal goes through, and to me it means so much to high school, college, and professional sports. Like, it affects everything. Michael Drake, the board chairperson, Michael Drake said that allowing promotions and third-party endorsements is uncharted territory.
Crazy, man. I think finally that players are going to be able to, college athletes are finally going to have some type of compensation financially for their efforts and their likability and their marketability. I see this as a reaction to the current players that were highly ranked, especially in basketball, coming out of high school, just jumping straight to the G League and saying, I don't want to go to college. I think that's my biggest implication. Just like the NCAA did that, it's like, okay, we don't messed up, so we got to figure it out. And I think this is like a counter strategy that they have going forward.
Yeah, man, I'm really grateful as a former college athlete myself to see that the players are getting their due. It's kind of like, let's give them something though. It's not the whole thing. Like, we have to give them something, you know? Mm-hmm. So they're not getting a piece of the major pie that the NCAA is getting, and the institutions are getting from March Madness and all the TV revenues. They're not getting stuff like that. But at least that they can now use their likeness to their profit, you know, and not get punished for it. And I think that's a big step forward for the NCAA and just for sports in general. It's going to change the whole sporting world. It's going to allow sporting agents to now market and recruit at younger rates. Mm-hmm. They're going to be looking at kids who like 6th and 7th grade, trying to look out who's
6th and 7th grade.
6th and 7th grade.
Start early.
He's going to be the next blah blah blah. Trying to get him on there. Trying to get him on their team. They was already doing that with LeBron. When LeBron was doing it, but now it's going to be.
But there's only one LeBron, and we had
thing.
Countless Akil Carrs and countless Seven Woods, like people who really make it.
And those kids have a following, and those kids can promote, even if they don't become big, because they are now Instagram celebrity and they are not social media celebrities. They hold weight, and they are influencers, which means that you can market, you can sell, you can use that to your ability. Like, I can see a lot of kids doing that, and what that looks like is going to put a lot of pressure on the amateur coaches now, a different level of professionalism that they have to deal with that they didn't have to deal with before. Now you're looking at somebody, a player who you saw as a player that you're just trying to coach and become better and develop them. They're an investment to a company now, right? So that comes with certain connotations and certain requirements that they have to meet as well. You know, so like it's going to make everybody's game step up. What it does bode well for the G League.
It does bode well for the G League?
It bodes well for the G League. And I say it bodes well for the G League now because if I can become a professional athlete out the gate, and I have a following, and I have my own business, I don't need college. It's almost like you're going to trade school. Like,
so
you're going to trade
those 5th year kind of like prep schools, they call them, John.
Yep.
They're going to essentially become what the G League is, or that's going to essentially be what the G League.
I think that players are not going to go to prep school. Prep school was there because they wanted to get another layer of education. Number one, to prep them for college. But now, if I don't have to have college as an option to go to the league, those prep schools now become obsolete. I can just go to the G League, who has better facilities, better trainers, people who are going to get me more ready for the NBA pro game, and go there. So I think that's gonna affect them too. Like all these prep school teams, I think that's gonna change the landscape a little bit, right? And I think college basketball, they're reacting. I think that they're reacting to what the NBA is doing. You know,
I think college basketball kind of shot themselves in the foot. One, waiting so long. I think this has been a conversation for a long time about college players bringing in majority of the revenue. College players being the reason why this university has so many people watching or have so many people going. Players are that mesmerizing. Some people are that big of a celebrity. I think of Terrell Pryor in Ohio State and how his college career was cut short because he was selling his own stuff. You know, things that he signed with his own signature. And not, you know, he wouldn't be if this was the past. Right. If this was the past, this wouldn't he wouldn't have been affected. Johnny wouldn't have been affected. Wouldn't have been a lot of. I don't know if Johnny was ever sanctioned, but I know.
I don't want to say it was sanctioned, but like it tarnished his reputation
Right,
a little bit. That he was doing things that were like, you know, a little bit questionable and things like that. But he was just doing things to really better himself. Like I think that the NCAA is, like you all said, a few years too late. Maybe like 10, 15
They were so
years
greedy.
ago
They were so greedy. And like John said, but they're not even giving up a huge piece of the pie. But now
they ain't giving up none of their pop.
Exactly.
They're
but
doing
in
something.
today's world, these players will see this, and like John said, some people will not go to college. Some people will be grabbing agents at 9th, 10th, even earlier than that. Grades, and they'll be able to do more than just play basketball or just play football. You know, a lot of people say nowadays your chances of making the NBA draft are the least in any other sport.
Such professional.
But and everyone plays it. So I go to school for 4 years. I have this following. I may be the second best player for a really prominent low level SEC team or ACC team. Think Oregon State or think, you know, but Oregon State has what 24, 25, 30,000 people on campus. I build a liking in those 4 years, and I can be whatever I want outside of the sport. If I was, like you said earlier, if I was an engineer and I was really good at building stuff and putting things together, now I've built that type of following with my likeness to go and already start at a place that others can't start. The average academic scholar couldn't start at the average one. If I'm a rapper, I can be trash, but if my image is lit enough and I'm doing decent enough on the football field, I'm going to attract fans. So, granted, I may not be the best player at the U or at Alabama, but if I'm the best player at South Carolina State, everyone's listening to my album, everybody bumping my album
that they bought on iTunes.
I may not need sports the way that, you know. So I think the other side of it is a lot of people are really gonna have to the siphoning in the NCAA is going to have to see who's for real, who's really about the sport life. And I think that was one of the ways that the NCAA tried to portray it before. Like, this is the life of a student athlete. You slave, in a sense. You slave, but after 3 to 4 years, you get this huge contract in the NFL, and we've taught you how to turn your hobby or your skill into a profession. A lot of people come into these sports may not be in it for that now. Now I just might, I can hoop. But I'm really not into hooping. I'm into
Singing.
I'm into singing. I'm into DJing. And now, because I'm a college athlete and I went to this big school, I may be the third string player, but I'm throwing every party. And I'm built, and I still can get that endorsement money because I was big in high school. In high school, I was a 25-point scorer. You know, so
look at YouTubers, man. That's another avenue. YouTubers making bank.
you can. Oh, that was the other part. They can now do their own camps.
Camp, yeah.
They can do their own camp. So every college athlete, any prominent college athlete should be, in my eyes, working with each other or finding a place to get a gym to say, yo, hey,
Let's do this camp.
exactly, why not? Now we have college money. Now we have summer money. Now, you know. So, and John talked about earlier, I think from the college perspective, they're definitely going to start chopping into some of those scholarships.
Yeah, scholarships, yeah.
How did you portray that? How do you foresee that going?
I mean, the way I see it is, as an organization, you gotta find ways to save money. And if you can justify the reason why you're saving money, then you go for it. So I can see that they're gonna say it's not, if you're getting endorsement money, you might not need to have a full ride. You have the ability to pay for.
So do you force
your I see that battle coming.
You see the college like forcing go get the money from them, go get the money from Under Armour, go get the money from Allstate, go do an Allstate commercial.
I can see that battle happen.
In fact, we want you to do an Allstate commercial because although you can't wear our Alabama jersey, you can definitely wear the crimson and white and say that you are a wide receiver for Alabama. What are they called? Crimson Tide, right? There's other avenues around it. For basketball, it's even worse. You only have to stay 1 year right now. But if I'm getting money already,
you go to G League.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'd rather go to the G League. I'm not gonna. I'm already a star.
Straight like that.
I'm already a star, and I may not be that good. It's another way to avoid certain competitions. You know, so it's interesting stuff.
Looking forward to see the follow-ups and see what that proposal is actually accepted.
The proposal is supposed to be finalized on October 31st, 2021, and voted on the latest January 31st. So it's not going to go into effect
for a whole another year. And some chick, see, this is NCAA being late to the 8 ball, so they about to lose a whole another year of draft one and done to the G League again. Anyway.
In football news. Football news, like John said, rotten cheese in Green Bay.
Rotten cheese.
Possibly. So John broke the story to us.
Yeah, man.
There may be some ruffling of feathers already, like we predicted last week, Rob.
I told you they be watching the show, man. Everybody Packers be watching the show. We said it last week. Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
According to a source, Brett Favre believes the Packers have burned the bridge with Aaron Rodgers.
I'm that source. Thank you.
And another source says that the Broncos can be in prime position of grabbing Aaron Rodgers away from the Packers.
All right, so there's
a lot of stories going around. A lot of rumors have truth to it. Let's real what's this.
They need the 27 for a first. Penalties fly. Rodgers dancing. Fires downfield for Adams. He's got it.
First team draft.
First and goal. Rodgers looking at zone.
He's not going to finish
Now he
this
falls across the field.
This is the guy here. It's like they didn't do
This is for
anything
all
to
of it
help
to
him
come.
out offensively.
He makes an adjustment for the touchdown.
On second and goal. All day for Rodgers. Slings it. End zone. Touchdown.
So here with 22 seconds left. The back shoulder. It's a touchdown.
Green Bay outstanding in the red zone. Rodgers on the move. Looking. Throws. Touchdown.
Another thing to the side.
Rodgers. Good protection now out to his right. To the end zone. Caught for the touchdown.
It was the general manager's call to draft Jordan Love. And not saying Matt LaFleur agreed with it or didn't agree with it, but he did some homework as far as this is a good player and scouting him. And the general manager said, okay, we're going to draft him.
So this is a Jerry Krause situation.
Essentially.
Organizations organizations win championships. So like this is my whole thing about this situation. I get the player's point, and I also get the organization's point. This is not an easy boat to be in. Like Jordan Love is a highly talented and a highly gifted quarterback. And any organization outside of the Packers who was sitting in that position could have drafted him, right? However, if you are the Packers and you are looking, I'm not insinuating, but if you are Packers and you are looking in the best interest of winning now, then you go to the immediate need, which would be wide receivers. And there was 6 of them drafted in the first round, and 6 of them drafted in the second round. This is the highest wide receiver drafted class in history.
Most receivers taken ever.
Most receivers taken ever. So
you didn't take one.
They didn't take one. What that said to me was, after they lost that game in Green Bay, they figured that it's time to look for the future. They made the decision as an organization that they're looking for the future. And they've always been drafting that way. They have always been drafting towards the future and not drafting for what's present right now. That's Green Bay. Think about it. When they needed a running back, you didn't think Aaron Jones was going to be that guy. And they drafted him 2 years ago for him to come into the situation now. When they needed Aaron Rodgers, they didn't need Aaron Rodgers. They had Brett Favre.
Brett Favre was talking about retiring.
Yeah.
Year in and year out.
Yeah. Brett Favre is Brett Favre. He always talk about retiring.
But Aaron Rodgers ain't talking about retiring. Like
he's not. But
the
I'm
question
saying
that you have with Brett
the organization strategy is what they're sticking to their guns. And if it's been proven successful, then why change from it? They've been one of the most consistent playoff teams in the NFC over the last 10 to 15 years.
Absolutely.
So if that process is working, then you don't break that, according to them.
Can I ask you a question?
Now this is where the challenging part.
Question?
This is where the challenging part comes in. When your organization's strategy undermines your star, that's where we at right now with Green Bay.
And here's my question for you. You said they had all this playoff success and the organizational strategy. What has been the one consistent piece outside of the organizational success? Is that quarterback is playing at an elite level.
Right.
Granted, he's on a decline.
He is on the decline.
And a decline of Aaron Rodgers is still better than 75% of the league. I'll take a decline of Aaron Rodgers over Matt Ryan right now.
And that's what I wanted to bring up. Between Jordan Love's pick and Justin Huber's pick, Justin Huber was picked 6, Jordan Love was picked 24, 25, it's picked 26. I'm looking at Carolina, who could use a quarterback. I'm looking at Jacksonville, who don't have a quarterback situation completely set up. I'm looking at the Browns, who have a shaky quarterback situation. I'm looking at the Jets, who they believe in their guy, but there's also Tampa Bay grabbed Tom Brady, but you don't know how long he's playing.
They went and picked the paper that can help them.
The Raiders have a I'm not sold on Derek Carr. He's a pretty good quarterback.
Raiders seem to like Mariota.
The Broncos, who you're talking about, may make a trade for Aaron Rodgers, picked up a receiver before him. So what I'm trying to say is, if this guy is so damn great, why were there 4 quarterbacks taken before him? 3 quarterbacks taken before him? 4 quarterbacks taken before him? And 2, why were so many teams willing to take someone that would help their team immediately over this guy when their teams need help?
3 quarterbacks taken before him.
3 quarterbacks before him. When their teams need help. When their teams could use quarterback positioning help.
Because I told you.
I just don't believe that. And this is someone that hasn't watched a bunch of tape on Jordan Love. I also watched his stats decline immensely from his first year to his second year. This guy went from 35 touchdowns and I believe it was 4 to 5 interceptions to 20 and 17. And less yards. 20 touchdowns, 17 yards. I mean,
you gotta remember, a lot of his weapons were gone, and they can't retool.
He ain't getting no weapons in Green Bay. Ain't no weapons in Green Bay. They can't retool. All he getting is Mac and the Vikings defense, Kendricks, and
Eric Kendricks.
They don't have
Eric Kendricks. I got it right.
They don't have the pieces to throw him in now and expect him to be great. Kind of reminds me of Haskins last year with the.
They don't want him. They don't want him
to
do it now.
But what message do you send to your star player? Damn, the star quarterback, your franchise player. over the last 15 years, what message do you send to him when you trade up to get this guy?
Get ready. Pack your bags. Your time is coming soon.
As you say.
That's basically what you're saying. So if I was Aaron Rodgers,
your time is coming soon.
if I was Aaron Rodgers, thank you. I'm out of here now. Let me go now. Don't try to Kurt Warner me to Eli Manning. Don't try to don't Eli Manning me into Daniel Jones. I don't want parts of any of that because Aaron Rodgers threw 32 touchdowns last year and 36 touchdowns the year before, and combined for 6 interceptions in those 2 years.
Like I said, still better than 75%.
Exactly, he's better than to me. He's better. There's only 5 quarterbacks in the league better than him going into this year.
This goes back to my point about Aaron Rodgers.
What? What about him?
Yeah, he's not that great.
He's not that good. Nah, he's good. He's good. I just feel like the organization feel like they did the best that they can do with him. And they
and you
so
go and grab someone that's not even a short shot.
I'm gonna say this.
You didn't even grab a short shot.
And I'm going to groom the next man under you.
I'm gonna say this for the Green Bay Packers. Whatever they do with Aaron Rodgers, they better not let him go in division. Because if he goes to any one of those teams besides the Lions,
if he goes to the Bears,
they are legit Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah. Green Bay is owned still by the town. Just because it's the only town-owned team in the NFL, so I will guarantee you that he will not get traded to any team in the division. I think that was the only clause with the Brett Favre when they said, Brett Favre, you come out of retirement, go ahead, you're not going to mess with your contract situation. You can't sign to no team in the NFC North. Can't do it. So what did he do? He played 1 year with the Jets and got traded to the NFC North. He played 1 year with the Jets and ended up in Minnesota. In the playoffs.
One game away from Super Bowl.
Green Bay, have you not learned from this? Granted, Aaron Rodgers was the next person, right?
And guess what? They won a chip after Brett Favre left.
Mm-hmm.
So, did I learn from that?
One chip
so,
with Aaron Rodgers.
I get it.
One chip with Brett Favre.
I get it.
Aaron Rodgers was
And
30
years of success. And 30 years of success in that time frame.
Here's a question for you, though, John.
The formula works, bro, for them.
But here's my question.
Two championships.
You're not going to be blessed to grab guys like that every time, bro. You're not going to grab. I think quarterback is the hardest position to grab. You're not going to grab surefire Hall of Fame.
Surefire MVP and Hall of Fame quarterback.
So you let him run his course kind of like Tom Brady and
see what the coach tried to do.
The Patriots.
Manning and Andrew Luck.
You gotta go as far as you can, bro. You kind of gotta Kobe this. To be honest with you, if you really want that quarterback, you have to Kobe this. You have the New York Giants this. You have to let your star, your dwindling star, be that bad that not only does he see that it's time to move on, but the organization sees that it's time to move on. The fan base sees that it's time to move on, and you get a better draft pick if he sucks. If he's 4-12, you get a better draft pick. If he's 13-3, you trade up for 25 and grab the third or fourth quarter.
That's not their motto in Green Bay. We want to win at all times while we're rebuilding, kind of like the Seahawks.
Final question for you, John.
I don't think it's
even when we're rebuilding, we're constantly rebuilding, and we want to win. That's what they want to do.
Constantly rebuilding, want to win. How far away were the Packers from making the Super Bowl last year?
1 game.
So do you think, is it fair to say that hypothetically they were a piece or two away from being in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And is it fair or safe to say that you could have had that 1 or 2 pieces in the first or second round?
Especially when one of those pieces were receiver, which was the high 36 picks, right?
I'll rest my case.
So, Aaron Rodgers news is going to be real flaky out in Green Bay for time to come.
I'm interested to see that.
The less they play, the more build up too. So it's very interesting.
Can I say this one last thing? Because I just feel like I gotta hang on this. I can see this is transcendent future Rob. I can see Aaron Rodgers requesting a trade as soon as the coronavirus is over.
Not making noise now. We're making noise as soon as it's time to make some noise.
When he can actually visit some teams and talk to them face to face.
I'd be surprised if Aaron Rodgers is a Packer by the start of next year. But not the season coming up, by the start of the season after. I think
start of the year.
It might be some drama, but I don't see them letting him go right now. Not for 13-3 season. They did, but like you said, they did do that with Brett Favre. Brett Favre last year with Green Bay was a 13-3 season, in which they went to the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
So, who knows? More quarterback news, but we got a little bit more time on this topic. And Andy Dalton was released from
The Bengals.
the Bengals. Star quarterback Joe Burrow is gonna, or star rookie, potential star quarterback Joe Burrow is gonna be out there. So they decided they're not gonna really do a whole quarterback controversy. Joe Burrow has been talking about starting now and playing up against these defenses right now. So we're gonna start it where it is. Marvin Lewis was fired last year.
Yeah.
So Marvin Lewis is gone, and now Andy Dalton is gone. I think we talked about AJ Green possibly being on the block. Earlier, I think you guys were talking about that a couple of shows ago. Looking like AJ Green would be on the block. Does Andy Dalton still got it, guys? Can Andy Dalton still be a quality quarterback for a team that wants to make at least a playoff push?
Starter?
Yeah.
If you put Andy Dalton on the
starter.
Broncos, they can make the playoffs. But I don't think that John Elway wants to do that. It depends. If you surround Andy Dalton with pieces and a good defense, I think he leads to the playoffs. Do I think he'll win a playoff game? No. But do I think they could contend? Absolutely.
What about you, John?
It depends on the pieces he has around him. It really does. I think if everybody right now, the quarterback spot's secure, bro.
What? Phooey. A lot of question marks at quarterback position.
Name.
The Broncos.
It's like
I don't think. All right. What I'm saying is.
That's a position.
What I'm saying is.
Go to the big bag.
Exactly.
Your rookies may not be ready, so there goes San Diego. Where they play at now?
What I'm saying is that the
Okay.
GMs have made their mind at this
Los
time.
Angeles.
GMs have made their mind who their quarterback is
Going into
2020. They have already made their mind.
Easy to do that when you're not seeing
Outside-
them on the field, man.
Like I can
You
see.
start seeing some of these guys on the field, and you might want to bring Andy Dalton into these coaching. So you're saying you don't see him as a starter?
I don't see him as like
Not
the
even
way that
New
he
England?
he can come in right
Not
now.
the spot, New England.
Why
It's
didn't they? My thing is this: New England. Why didn't they make that move already?
Because
Because they just released him.
With the Cam Newton, with all these other talents.
Because
They
of
want
what?
Cam.
Hey,
They
whoa.
want Cam.
Andy Dalton compared to the Jameis and the Cams. Who else was available going into this? Phillip Rivers. He's more in that Phillip Rivers range than the Jameis and Cam range. He's not erratic with his arm. He only has 2 seasons where he's thrown less than 10 picks.
And he's not a headache
But he's not erratic. He's not a headache.
at all.
He hasn't been the same. His last 2 years.
Last 2 years, he
was
ain't having
the
the
only
number one
years that
target.
he also didn't. Those are the only years that he didn't play a full season.
And he ain't having the
That's
one
not-
target last 2 years, too. And AJ Green been hurt last 2 years. AJ Green didn't even play at all last year.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Green, just saying.
I say this to you. Outside of last year,
I like Andy and New England.
his record is really very close, either right above 500 or right below 500. He's won 8 more games than he's lost. 170 wins to 61 losses, two ties. He's not bad.
He's not
He's
bad.
not bad at
He's
all.
not bad. Last year he had a really bad season, but we all knew that was a really bad team. And let's be honest, I think for what it's worth, in the last 10 years, the Bengals have stood around longer than you would expect them to when you look at their roster, when you look at the ever-changing dominance of Pittsburgh and the Ravens, who have Super Bowls in this time. They've been around in a lot of play. They haven't been able to make it far in the playoffs. I think, to me personally, I think that was a lot to do with their coaching. They should have been let Marvin Lewis go. But at the same time, you make the same argument. Like, if he's not losing every year and he's doing something that's... They almost remind me of the Portland Trailblazers. And last year was, and just like this year with Portland, for Cross Sports Reference, was the first time that you really got to see, like, you know what? It's just not enough.
The only place I can see Andy
Having heart, but that's what I like about Andy Dalton. I feel like in that division, quiet as kept. He's had heart. He's played hard. To play what is this? I think this is 10, 11 seasons. To play 10, 11 seasons and to have a winning record in that division with who else do you know from that team that's been a superstar in the last 10 years? Since Ocho Cinco left. You have
AJ Green.
AJ Green. You don't know.
Pac-Man.
And that's what I'm saying. Pac-Man is a star there in a slot corner getting burned on other teams.
I said that to say that because he's not really a star.
Yeah.
You know,
But
Giovanni
no,
Bernard,
yeah,
you know,
Bernard, yeah.
these are decent players. They just like, I can't even say it's just like Portland. More like Cleveland with LeBron. They don't have LeBron.
I can
But
see.
they didn't really
LeBron
add to make that, or maybe they just missed a lot. Development wasn't good, but I don't remember this team putting together. That's a championship contending team. This is hey, Andy Dalton's doing all right with the Bengals. Look at the Bengals 8-5.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the Bengals 7-4. Not no.
I think that's more of Andy Dalton though, because.
And that's why I'm saying he should be. There could be a job for him.
I'm saying I think they were viewed that way because of Andy Dalton. Because if they had Aaron Rodgers,
really,
in that division,
I mean, they do have Aaron Rodgers.
going 10-6 and 11-5 and going 0-7 in the playoffs, like.
My thing with Andy Dalton is kind of what Rob said. He's mediocre.
Yeah.
He's not anything over the top. Doesn't have legendary runs like Eli.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have anything that makes him stand out.
No.
He's a standard prototypical quarterback. He would be a great backup.
Is another one.
He would be a great backup for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He'd be a great starter for the New England Patriots. That's who it would be.
I think he'd be a great game manager. You say he doesn't have anything special, but I look at guys like Kirk Cousins, who's been a staple in this league for a while now. Not a winner.
Kirk Cousins led the league in passing yards. He has that under his belt. Andy Dalton doesn't have that. And Dalton never made it to the Pro Bowl.
Oh, that's not true. 3-time Pro Bowl quarterback.
He is?
Yes.
Pro Bowl? Oh.
That's not fair. But his best season was 4,200 yards.
He doesn't have anything
And that
like
was his
outstanding.
last season.
That's Aaron Rodgers'
4,293. That is Aaron Rodgers.
That's Aaron Rodgers' worst season.
Yeah, we were just arguing. his worst season last week.
75% of the league.
I hear what you're saying. I'm not saying he's a. I think he's a dog. I think he can fight, and there are teams that can use that fight. I look at the Bears as a team that is one decent quarterback away, a la Rex Grossman, who was decent to bad, but I think Mr. Trubisky is performing worse than that right now. They're one decent quarterback away from being a championship team. Like you said earlier, starting last year, you looked at the Bears as a prominent team.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at the Bears as at least a prominent defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they have legit targets. Allen Robinson, they had Taylor Gabriel. They had legit targets.
Montgomery had a good year.
Trey Burton was over. So, that's where I see like an Andy Dalton. Another team that could use him. You look at Los Angeles. If their if their rookie isn't ready to go, they have targets that are already better than what
he's Chargers?
Yeah, the Chargers. Yeah, I'm talking about the Chargers. Not
Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry,
not the Rams.
Williams.
Of all the quarterbacks that was asked this year, if I had to make a list of who I would give another chance, it would be Jared Goff. And then under him, my boy Baker Mayfield. But I think Jared Goff has earned himself a chance to redeem what happened to him last year.
This would be an interesting domino effect. If Jared,
the
last thing, if Cam Newton signs to the Rams, this ain't
interesting. I'd use him as
he would be perfect in their system. Number one. Number two, if they trade Jared Goff to the Patriots.
John, you asked too much.
I'm just saying it could be a dumb effect.
I like it.
For a Devin McCourty.
You saying
the only thing the Patriots giving up is a draft pick. Right? What are you talking about?
For Jared Goff?
They got Randy Moss for a 7th rounder.
I think they did a trade. I think they traded for Jared Goff.
Nah. I think they'll sign Andy Dalton before they trade for Jared Goff.
Then that'll be a good. I don't know. I'm just reaching. I'm reaching. That's a good reach.
John reach for the day.
But
we're gonna move on to the basketball realm really quickly. We all sat up with our popcorn. I had my popcorn ready in the form of ice cream.
My popcorn is good for it.
But we sat up and we watched The Last Dance episodes 3 and 4. Episode 3 focused more on the relationship with Dennis Rodman. Episode 4 focused on the relationship with Phil Jackson, and I got to see Doug Collins, who's also Michael Jordan's coach, in a different light than I've ever seen Doug Collins, and that was fun.
No, Doug Collins was number overall pick.
No, it's so much about Doug Collins I did not know.
You know he played with Dr. J?
Yep.
There was so much about Doug Collins I did not know.
Doug Collins is the man.
Olympic champion.
Yeah,
And I've always liked him as an analysis, right? I've always liked Doug Collins, and it's like, yo, this dude, this was the bread and butter back then. He like he said on the show, Jordan was the scoring champ with me. He won dunk contest with me. He won MVP with me.
He won defensive
player of the year with me.
All-star MVP.
He was the one he was the
He grew the individual talent of Michael Jordan.
Yeah. He put
He
the battery in
maximized.
his back.
He maximized
The
Michael
battery that
Jordan.
he didn't need because Mike was going to get his.
Yeah.
But literally setting up an offense to make sure Mike always got his
Yep.
was genius in the sense of building Mike's greatness. If you have a all-seeing ball or third eye, and you can see into the future, and you know Mike gonna get his 6 chips anyway. You're like, hell yeah, Doug Collins the guy we went from for his first 4 years. Let's build up this resume as much as we can, kind of like Scotty Brooks with Kevin Durant, or Scotty Brooks with Russell Westbrook. But then they got the guy. The second episode was about Phil Jackson, more about Phil Jackson, and they got the guy that made everybody click. Scottie Pippen became the Scottie Pippen that we know and love under Phil Jackson, not under Doug Collins. But yeah, so we're gonna go with this first. Episode 3 was about Rodman, and I could literally talk about Rodman all day. A lot of you not. There was a time last year where I went on YouTube and I typed in Dennis Rodman playoff highlights. And when I typed it in, it was, I don't know why they did it or who did it, or someone was thinking like me, and they edited all of Dennis Rodman highlights, which is basically rebounds and defense. And I watched every game. I forget what championship that was. The year they played against Utah. He was stifling Karl Malone. I don't know which year that was.
96, 97,
Yeah,
97,
2
98.
years in a
It
row.
was 2 years in a row.
It was the year when Jordan hit the
Dynasties.
shot. It was the year when Jordan hit the shot. So
97,
the
98.
last one. So I watched. So someone already did this. I watched every from the first round of the playoffs to the second round of the playoffs to the next round of the playoffs to the championship. I watched nothing but Dennis Rodman highlights. And it was some of the best basketball I watched. This guy is amazing to watch on the court. A little crazy off the court, but amazing to watch. The energy that he brings. When we talk about Jordan being the best player of all time, Dennis Rodman is definitely our new era basketball. So I guess I'm talking 80s and up. Best rebounder of all time in that last 30 to 40 year frame. But he also may be the best energy player we've ever seen.
Best hustle guy.
Best hustle guy ever. So this Bulls team, this last dance, yes, Jordan is the catalyst of being the best player of all time, but they had a lot of best of all time going on with that team. There was a lot of magic.
Yeah, and I think
best coach.
I was just about to segue
They
into
had
that.
the best sidekick, hypothetically,
Mm-hmm.
for Jordan.
I think he had the best sidekick.
He had the best sidekick for Jordan, I think. And then, like you just said, one of the best energy, do it all, no stats kind of guy.
But you can have all
Doesn't show
that.
up on the stat sheet.
You can have all that and not be winners. So like that next episode showed the mastermind behind putting the pieces together and making it work as a unit.
Mm-hmm.
Like that episode really spoke to Phil Jackson's greatness, and the complexities of that season, not just on the court.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I think what this episode showed is that coaching is not just, all right, we're going to the facility, I'm gonna write X's and O's and that's it. That's the end of my day. Like coaching happens 24/7. It's a lifestyle, and Phil Jackson embodied that in his everyday philosophy about everything being about the team. Like you said, Doug Collins was the one that got Michael Jordan to that platform where he knew that he was the best. There's nothing that you can do to stop him. Phil Jackson got him to understand you are the best and nobody can stop you, but let's get everybody else to feel the same way.
Let's win. That's Phil.
That's
how we gonna win.
And that's how we gonna win.
That's how we gonna win.
We
You
know,
put 63.
Mike, we know you can drop buckets,
Right.
but if you try to win a championship, they gotta be scared of them too, and they gotta play their part, and they gotta feel important, and they have to raise their level up. And I need you to do that. He challenged Mike, like Doug Collins challenged Mike's individual game. Phil Jackson challenged Mike's leadership abilities, and I think that's what put him over the top.
I think that there was a moment in the documentary where Phil Jackson, I think it was a playoff game or whatever, and Phil was like, "Yo, Mike, how are they guarding you?" Phil Jackson, first of all, he's the Zen master. Like I see why he literally is the Zen master, just like his whole being, just like he's already 2-3 steps ahead of you, and whatever he does, like, "Yo, Mike, who's open? How are they guarding you?" He's like, "Pass is open." He's like, "Okay." Passing the ball, shoot it. It wasn't like, well, we're gonna draw up this play, and if you're open, I mean, if they stop you, then look. No, Mike, this is the play. passed it to him, and Mike respected that. You know what I mean?
There's a respect when you it's about how you present what you're trying to say. Phil, like you said, Phil could just say, "Yo, Mike, shooter's open on the fucking wing. Hit him.
Thinking.
He's open. Mike, who's open? You know it.
Right.
You know it. You're the best basketball player ever.
Yep.
You know who's
Yep.
open. Trust him. Trust him. Boy went off for 18 points that game. That's the beauty of it, and that's what when you get to coach in a situation like that. I know the best part of it is being able to go back the next day and sit down and film and say, "Yo, look, you're gonna get yours no matter what. Can't nobody stop you, but you can't score 112 points a game to win a championship. You can't score. You can't do that.
You can't.
You need help.
You need help.
You need breathers. Imagine being able to, and I think this was the same thing that he had to teach Kobe, and Kobe didn't want to learn that at first.
Yeah.
Kobe didn't want to understand when Shaq had first left that, yo, look, we understand that you are the best player on the court, but you'll never win. You'll go up 3-1 against Phoenix every time until you trust the smush parkers around you. What Kobe said, get these bums away from me and give me somebody that I can trust.
Right. Give me defense.
And that's where Jerry Krause is still huge, bro. As much as we hate on Jerry Krause,
Because he provided those players.
he provided the players for us to trust. Dennis Rodman was hated in Chicago.
Yeah, they didn't want to bring him in.
Dennis Rodman was part of that Detroit Bad Boys Pistons team that tortured. There's video on The Last Dance of him and Scottie Pippen on the floor. The game Scottie Pippen said he couldn't see. Dennis Rodman standing in front of him, getting the crowd hype. What you gonna do? Like, Dennis Rodman was a terror to Chicago's early years. Jerry Krause and the organization found a way to get Dennis Rodman, the best rebounder, on that team. What else do you need when you got a guy
Or relatively cheap, too, because at
You
a
got
time...
everybody for cheap?
No, let me tell you why I was relatively cheap. Because nobody wanted to deal with the headache of Rodman.
Yeah. Because he had changed teams at that point.
Yeah, he was in San Antonio.
He had changed
San
San
Antonio.
Antonio. That's when he was doing crazy stuff. They was like,
Then Madonna, he was like, I'm gonna be myself, and like, and I think the greatness of Phil, like I said before, is just not the
X's and O's.
not the X's and O's, but the trust that he instilled in his players. The fact that he said, "This we're gonna let you go to Vegas for 48 hours," and I know Phil Jackson, he was like, he's not gonna be there for 48 hours. He knew it. Like, he's a gym master. He knew that. He knew that.
You look at Phil Jackson.
So he let him go anyway. Like, that would have been unheard of now. He would have been, his head would have been on a shot. I also
It is
think,
unheard of, but we heard that Derrick Rose going back to Chicago for some time in New York.
Derrick Rose did that without the team. Did you see how the difference in the
Exactly.
way the organization handled it?
And to the era too, because the era. Could you imagine if they had social media back then and Dennis Rodman was caught
Vegas.
wilding out in Vegas
While the season's going
while
on.
the season's going on?
So
My man was going to NWO shows, bro, and then coming back to the games and playing. Yo, they would have had his head on a chopping block.
You say that now,
But
but it's hard to, and this is where the other part of Dennis Rodman is so special. When we watched the documentary, he talks about going to the gym with his boys at 3 a.m, just having them shoot. So he starts, he cerebrally treated rebounding like a scorer treats positioning and shooting. If the scorer's over here, most likely his shot, because he got spin on it, is going to bounce off the rim and come over here. So I don't got to fight with this guy. I may fight with him, but I'm fighting with him to get to a different spot that he thinks that I'm actually trying to get to, which gives me a chance to pop the ball up in the air, original pogo stick, jump 6-7 times to grab one rebound. It was times I watched the videos. There's times that he was doing it, he didn't have to. It's like, that was his fun. And he said that in the documentary. It's a part of the game where he lost the fun part of it. And that's what kept him in that diving all over the floor, behind the back passes when it's not necessary.
Yep.
Dennis Rodman for 3.
Yo.
Dennis Rodman for 3 again. Bang! That's what made him so special. But he was also cerebral. When I say he was the best at what he did, you kind of got to give the best lead with it. LeBron gets away with a lot. LeBron does things that everybody can't do. LeBron does. Even if it's not the same, LeBron, one of the people that not too many people spoke up when it came to cultural issues. LeBron, I believe, to me, LeBron is one of the catalysts for that. But it wasn't LeBron up there with Larry Hughes and Anthony Parker. It was LeBron up there with D Wade, Chris Bosh, and Kobe jacketed, and now you got the big endorsement. So when you're that big, and Dennis Rodman was that big and that good, you kind of got to give him his own leeway. All right, Phil Jackson reminds me of Marty from the Ozarks, Marty Bird. I'm not really trying to win this battle. It's more about this war. We can lose this 3-game stretch, but if I get a focused Dennis Rodman, we're the best team in the league. So forget these 3 games. Jordan might be mad, and I can deal with him because at the end of the day, he just want to win too. Scottie might be mad, but when we get Pippen back, we got this guy that's amazing. We got this guy that's alert, and a Pippen that's not into the game for what he does isn't an effective Pippen anyway. That's a 6 fouls or 4 fouls and a tech out of the game. Messing up your offensive flow, messing up your defensive flow, putting people on the line for no reason. That's what an unfocused Dennis Rodman was. So, kudos to both Dennis Rodman and Phil Jackson on how they handled that situation.
I love how Phil Jackson was able to connect to his players, like in different ways. Him being just a connoisseur of Native American history, that was his way of connecting with Dennis Rodman.
Facts.
And then just his basketball mind and intelligence was his way of connecting to Michael Jordan. Like his ability to connect to all of his players at different levels. Like they were literally doing yoga on practice. Can you imagine Michael Jordan, like the very, very, very best player in the world, biggest star, saying, "Okay, we're not going to focus on basketball right now. We're really going to focus on yoga." Like that kind of connection and trust, like John was saying, is really what I admire about Phil Jackson.
My last 2 tidbits on this. The Vegas story, when he came back, they did the Indian drills, where the person in the back has to lap the person in the front. And Jordan said, man, I didn't go to Vegas. I'm chilling. The rest of us be chilling. And this Rodman, this person that drugs and alcohol and women and multiple sex partners, you would expect him to be expending a lot of energy. He said when he got to the front, it took them 4 laps to catch him. This is the type of supremeness that we're dealing with, that we're talking about. We're not, I guess when I said when we talk about this last dance, we're not talking about the average player doing monumental stuff outside of basketball, or having a big run, having a David Tyree catch, or having a Devin Hester type season. We're talking about guys that were great just in their role. Just in their role. And Jordan was the star, and he was great in that role. Lastly, Phil Jackson coaching in Puerto Rico. That story had me crying. They said that the mayor shot somebody at a home game in the leg. And the only sanction he got was he can no longer come to home games. That's it. That's what Phil Jackson was coaching with before he came back to the league.
And that's why he learned how to deal with crazy situations. Because I seen somebody get shot in the blast
by the mayor.
Man.
You're cheating. What?
Y'all gotta get me up out of here.
Yeah.
Send me back home.
So, and kudos Phil Jackson. Kudos to
Phil Jackson, that
Rodman.
only championship team in New York Knicks, well, a part of the only championship teams
Yep.
the Knicks have ever had.
Yeah.
And if you looked at his game, it was a lot like Dennis Rodman.
Another way to connection.
All right, y'all. Real quick, we're gonna get into this segment, man. This segment is called "Like It, Love It, Hate It." We're gonna drop some sports news categories, things that we didn't really want to spend a whole 15 or 20 minutes on, but we did want to make sure that we touched on it. Real quick, we're gonna get into this segment, man. This segment is called "Like It, Love It, Hate It." We're gonna drop some sports news categories, things that we didn't really want to spend a whole 15 or 20 minutes on, but we did want to make sure that we touched on as novel or noble journalists or respect the field that we are in. We want to talk about all sports. Some other sports news that came up throughout the week. So, like it, love it, hate it. Start with the first one. Little League World Series is suspended for summer. I'm going to go with like it. I'm not a fan of this. I'm going to say that part first. It's either like it or hate it for me because I love Little League World Series. I really enjoy watching the Little League World Series. I mean, I actually like it before it makes it to the world stage. I do like seeing the
states,
the Southwest. I like
the regions.
I like the region exactly because I remember being at Fresh Air Fund and being, you know, the family that I was staying with. He was a pitcher that pitched for his region, for the Vermont region, and they would try every year. And they didn't make it out of the Vermont region, but it was fun to be there. So it kind of brings me back and watching these young ones and their star, their favorite players are guys that are like 23 years old. So now you see when it's like, oh, this kid was a fan of Mike Trout. Now he's pitching against Mike Trout. You know what I mean? It's fun baseball, man. Keep it a stack. So I'm sad that it's not happening, but at the same time, safety has to come first. Safety has to come first, and you gotta take care of the kids first. So be as precautionary as possible. And I think when it comes to children sports, we need to take this model first. I know there's a lot of money in Little League baseball. There's a lot of love and friendship, but it is what it is. You gotta take a chance. You can't take no chances.
I hate it, man. I hate it. Because it's not that I hate that they canceled it. I hate that they had to cancel it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's really like becoming a real, like, although the coronavirus is real, like it's really affecting us in ways that we weren't exactly anticipating. Like, our new news is the fact that the Little League World Series is canceled. So yes, I hate that.
Yeah, I like it. I like it because you have to put the safety of the kids first. And even if there's not a Little League World Series this year, there might be one next year. And you can't think of short-term measures. You got to think of long-term measures for long-term results, because short-term measures can have drastic results in the long term. So thinking of it from that perspective, you know, I like the move. I hate the fact that it had to happen, but I like the move per se for canceling it.
All right, let's move on. We got Baseball Hall of Fame also canceled. Like, love, and hate it. So Baseball Hall of Fame inductees will not be, that whole ceremony will not be taking place this year.
I hate it. I think that you can still have the Baseball Hall of Fame just like you have the NFL draft. You can do it virtually. You can have somebody sit online and give them, like, send their Hall of Fame plaque to them, whatever the case may be. You can do that. I think that shouldn't be postponed because it's something that's feasible. Like, you can't play the game of baseball for obvious reasons, but you can host an event.
Yeah.
I want to see who's going to be in the Hall of Fame and shit.
I love it.
Did Barry Bonds get it? Coronavirus, anything can happen.
I love it because Derek Jeter was supposed to be enshrined in the Hall of Fame this year. I don't believe that a virtual Hall of Fame induction ceremony for Derek Jeter would suffice for the greatness of who he is. So I appreciate the fact that they have 2 years, number 2, to prepare for the greatest induction ceremony of all time.
I love it for some of the same reasons. I'm just not going to talk about number 2. When I say why I love it, I do think that, one, this is one of the things where you definitely want to have a big event. And I agree with you. There are ways to do a big event. We just watched the NFL draft. There are ways to do a big event where everyone doesn't have to be together. But then we talk about cultural awareness and sports, and I think baseball is in last place. So I don't think they have the people in place to make it that good of an event. And I'm not saying that the NFL draft went great. I'm not saying that, you know, they don't have the people. Yeah, they don't have the vision.
They don't got the
innovativeness.
They don't even have the personality.
They don't have the personality. They don't have.
The MLB is innovative. They do chin scandal. They put cameras in the back of the They can do that.
They just need some Boston people in there.
Imagine how boring.
Imagine
how boring that would be if the MLB commissioner and team put together
Rob Manfred.
Think ESPYs. Think the NFL has one too that they do.
They do?
The NFL Hall of the NFL shows be lit.
They
shows be lit.
I thought you were talking about their season awards.
It's just not. Yeah, even the season awards.
What personalities do you have from baseball?
That's what I'm saying. At least in the NFL, you got Deion.
Name a baseball ad that you remember that had you like, oh yeah, that was it. When's the last baseball ad?
You gotta bring back Big Papi from the DR.
Like
Bobby.
They don't have the right.
Pedro.
I don't feel like baseball has the right people in place to make it a lit enough event to do
People
it
want to watch it
remotely and people actually want to watch it. They'd be wasting their money and they would be, like Rob said, they would be doing the people that are getting inducted a disservice.
Right. And I feel like, this is anticipated one of the biggest classes of the whole time. You got Derek Jeter going in. Cooperstown, New York, supposed to get billions of dollars. So, like, you don't just want to lose that to virtual money.
So that's why I got surgery on my foot, Cooperstown. Go right by the whole thing. What else we got? NBA was supposed to be opening yesterday. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, because I hate this move, I haven't looked into it to see if it actually happened.
Nope, nothing happened.
We'll be opening facilities?
It was supposed to be opening facilities yesterday.
So, I was doing some research on this. The NBA is not going to make a decision on whatever they're going to do until this Friday coming up.
So the NBA is not making a decision on anything until this Friday.
Yes.
So it's kind of like what we've been dealing with schools and Corona, where we'll tell you the 15th.
Yeah.
We'll tell you the end of the month. We'll tell you the 15th. We'll tell you the beginning of the month.
We're not going to make a
We
decision
don't know.
until the end of April.
We don't know what's
We're not
safe.
gonna have
We
it.
want money. It's really the pendulum swinging because we want this money. Fat, hungry money people. We gotta keep everybody safe.
I think that they've mastered.
public. You better not create 5,000 Corona masks for y'all.
They mastered the art of press releases. So, like, what I mean by that is that I'm reading this book called The Plague, and it's pretty much about like how people react during the epidemic and like previous years and like the socialization factor and how people respond to like disturbing news. So one of the ways that you combat that is having
Soft scare.
exactly having like you break the news up in bits and pieces. So what the NBA is doing, like you said, is okay. We know we're not going to have this schedule open probably for the rest of the year, but we're going to say in the middle of the month and at the end of the month we're going to give you an update. And the update's going to be the same. It's going to be the same. Just word it differently.
The update going to be the same. We're going to push the date back.
Exactly.
Change the date from April to March.
That's exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. So yeah, we want to play, but you know we have to take an effect, blah blah blah. So we're going to have another meeting with the governors, and then we're going to discuss potentially opening up sites in Puerto Rico. What happened after that? We heard anything about playing on the island since then? No. All right.
What I have heard is Vegas and Disney World though.
Vegas, oh man.
Vegas because the governor's trying to open it back up.
Yeah.
And Disney World because that's where ESPN Studios is at. So, well, not saying that's because, but I think that does play a huge part in it when you have access to the largest sports network in the world and the cameras in the facility.
Right
And
there.
it's a nice partnership for them. So
Part
I
of
can see that
ABC,
Orlando.
Disney's part of ABC.
I can see that Orlando they host the
Third
finals.
Yep.
I can see that happening. I
Yep.
can see that happening.
Yeah, man.
And then they have the Worldwide Water Sports Complex up there.
Well, if they do open it back up this early without any concrete evidence on what's safe and what's not, then I'm a billion times hater of this.
You're hating of it?
Yeah, I don't want them opening anything until we know what the hell is going on. I mean, because then you start playing with people's emotions. People, sadly enough to say in this country, people would rather be happy than be safe sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think people have to understand that not a lot of people are saying this because they want this to be the case. Oh, I want to chill in the crib and do absolutely nothing all day. No. But I don't want to die because I want to go out. I don't want to, and even if it's not me, I don't want to die. Star player, you got a lot of stars, a lot of NBA players that contracted it, and they don't die, and they may not be in pain, in harm's way, but there are people that they're going to converse with it, they're going to interact with it, they're going to socialize with that may be in harm's way. Rest in peace to Carl Anthony Towns' mother. So you want to be as safe as possible. Period. I understand the money factor to it, but what does it matter if you don't got no people to show the games to anyway? So
Safety comes first.
Yeah, safety comes first in this to me. What else we got? We got Jameis Winston, and CJ spoke about him earlier in the chat box. Big shout out to CJ Carl Petrus III.
Famous James.
He talked about Jameis Winston. Yes, he was on the show for our wide receivers. Jameis Winston has signed a 1-year deal with the New Orleans Saints.
New Orleans Saints.
New Orleans.
Like, love, or hate it.
I like it for Jameis, being an objective analyst right now. Just not being a Falcons fan because I'm gonna let that bias stay over here, like Ben Simmons said.
Talking about the Saints. Yeah.
But I like it because if I'm Jameis Winston, he said himself he has to get a chance to learn under one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, Drew Brees, and one of the greatest offensive masterminds, Sean Payton. I like the 1-year contract because it gives him the flexibility to explore other options after the year is done. I also like it because he needs to sit on the bench for a little bit right now, man. He need to learn how somebody makes some good decisions. Watch somebody else do it and take some notes. So, and who better than Drew Brees? So, and it's in the division. He knows he's familiar with the Saints, familiar with the Bucks, familiar with the Falcons. So I'm sure it's going to be trade secrets going back and forth. Good move for him.
I think it's a good move for Jameis, and I think it's a good move for the Saints because they're getting leverage in a trade piece. I think that, one, I said this last year, I'm a big Jameis Winston fan. He's a Florida State alum. Let's go.
It's a W.
Seminoles. Facts. Seminoles.
Did you really just do
Seminoles.
that?
That's what we do.
It's W.
It's W. It's just W. That's baby
I
Jameis.
thought you really did.
But for famous, I said it before. He has to get outside of his comfort zone. He was in South Florida for his entire college career and in most of his professional career. He got stagnant. He got comfortable.
I think
he
he's
made
from Florida too, honestly.
Huh?
I think he's from Florida.
He's from Florida. He made bad decisions.
His whole life.
He's made bad decisions, had bad influence, and sometimes you need to. This is a part of his career adulting. You need to go to a different organization that's going to put you under a different type of tutelage. It's not going to have you and allow you to be Jameis and get away with your BS. I mean, all those off the field stuff that he was dealing with, those cases he was dealing with, those could have been handled differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think that now he's understanding that he finally has somebody he can look up to. That's number one. To look up to learn from, which is Drew Brees and Sean Payton. And once again, he's gonna be sitting on the bench with no pressure from him. So there's no pressure from Jameis right now. But to learn.
I disagree with that last part. I do think you're absolutely right with him needing to get away from home. I think there is pressure on Jameis Winston. You gotta understand that he wasn't. Most guys don't go from throwing 30 touchdowns to riding the bench, throwing 30 touchdowns to being dropped.
Derek Anderson?
Most guys don't go from 30, and we're talking about Jameis was a number 1 draft pick.
Number 1 overall.
Number 1 draft pick.
Tear our division apart. No, it was our wrong.
Number 1 draft pick. 30, so he there was a lot of pluses to last year. A lot of negatives.
There's a lot of minuses too. I mean,
Right,
plus
a lot
is that a lot of his losses, one of his famous losses came to my Giants when he was up by 24. And then another one came to the Eagles when they was up by 18. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't have those games. He could have made the playoffs. The Bucs could have made the playoffs last year with those comeback losses. Like, you have to take accountability for your actions, bro.
I get that.
And there's no pressure because you're not.
But I think
got your 1 year deal, bro.
there is pressure though.
What's that pressure?
Where's the pressure?
The pressure is, where does my career go from here? You know, we talk about a number 1 draft pick that had some pretty decent years. Granted, he's had some really bad times too, but he showed some plus side, he showed some bad side. He's very, very, very young. What is he, 26, 25? This could be the next Ryan Tannehill, or not Ryan Tannehill.
It's Ryan
I'm
Tannehill.
going to say Fitzgerald. Another
Fitzpatrick?
Ryan Fitzpatrick. This could be another Fitzpatrick where he's a journeyman that does good on certain teams.
Could be
Or
a
this
Tannehill.
could be the end of the line. This could be the end of the line too, though. So that's why I say there's pressure. This could be the end of the line. This may be your bridge into being a backup quarterback. You look at Teddy Bridgewater. He went over there, and now he has to fight for a spot out in Carolina. Which
I
is
think
probably
this
I got
not
reports
gonna
some
get.
stuff that I heard. And this is...
And also, he's not that far from home. That's my last piece to that.
With this
There's
deal...
there's only one other team closer, and they weren't going to take him, Miami.
New Orleans is a little farther than Florida.
With this
That's
deal, he
kinda-
said that there were other teams on the table that could have signed him that he had offers from where he did have positions to start or opportunities to be the starter.
Really?
That has been reported, yes, number 1. Number 2, he also said that, this is funny, and I quote, he didn't learn in Tampa Bay. He had to use Google.
So he's saying they weren't really.
They weren't coaching him. That's what he said. That's what he said himself. So if that's truly the case,
Bruce Arian?
that's what Jameis Winston said. Quote, he said they wasn't teaching me how to use Google and somebody else. It was like I had to ask somebody to use Google. So with that being said, if that's the case,
And he's going to a great.
and you're going to New Orleans with the quarterback like Drew Brees, with the offensive mind like Sean Payton.
Yeah.
If you don't learn in that offense, that's on you.
So yeah.
That's on you. That's that.
Does he get a chance? No.
Well, this is why I said.
I don't think
it's
it's
a
gonna be like a
trade
Ryan
piece,
This
But this is why I said it's no pressure.
Reduction kind of.
This is why I said it's no pressure.
Resurrection kind of different.
Because he's not starting.
Copy.
He's not starting. He's not expected to start unless Drew Brees get hurt. That's the only expectation that they have from him. So you really
I'm
get.
saying
It's
the
almost
pressure
like a
is
red
from him
shirt. He's
because-
having like a red shirt year,
You're saying
Pressure
and on him internally.
Yeah,
might be his
because this
way out
might
the
be
league.
the way out of the league or the way into being from number one to nobody.
to nobody.
I think
Ryan Tannehill, like you brought up Ryan Tannehill never gets that opportunity of Marcus Mariota doesn't start bumming it up. Because Mariota was a by playoff player every year.
But that happens frequently.
But this is not Mariota.
But that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying this. There's going to be a team who has a quarterback who they believed in that stinks it up.
And then Packers.
Not
Not Packers. But that's the Packers.
It could be the Packers.
That's the Packers is thinking.
It could be the Packers. It could be Ben Roethlisberger get hurt
Could be
in the middle of the season.
Could be
Who's available? This is why I said that it's leverage.
Philadelphia.
It could.
be
Tom Brady might. No.
Denver, could be Denver though, right?
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying. Denver
Denver might get
There's
hurt.
gonna be a quarterback over there next year.
The Raiders, because John
always
Gruden was heavy on him in the draft. The Raiders, Derek Carr might get hurt.
So you're saying with there being no pressure, and this is the last thing. I guess we can all get our last point sitting on this guy. With there being no pressure, let's say the usually indestructible Drew Brees plays all 16 games. You're saying that some of these teams are going to want to grab a guy that was 30-30 because he sat behind Drew Brees, and
I'm telling you that there's going to be phone calls with updates, progressions, checking in to see how he's doing, blah, blah, blah. How is Jameis? Yeah, good. All right.
He's looking good.
He's looking
He
good.
looking like a second round, first round talent.
Third round pick?
Fourth round pick?
Second, third round
probably
pick?
the highest
Fourth?
it goes.
Okay.
Fourth is probably the
Yeah.
highest
He's looking good. Look, we even put him in a couple sets. Let him get a home run play. I can see that happen too.
Somebody gets hurt.
Taysom Hill signing back. I ain't playing Jameis if I got
They
Taysom.
play both. Taysom Hill in the slot, do a fake reverse.
3 quarterbacks on the field at one time. That's
That's
disrespectful.
Sean Payton, bro.
That's disrespectful. Somebody getting hurt.
That's Jim Harbaugh about disrespectful.
Why? Because he did 3 quarterbacks in the backfield.
Yeah.
It wasn't 3 quarters. 3 Heisman trophies.
3 Heisman.
Sorry, yeah.
One was a running back.
Lamar Jackson, RG3.
So you never know in this NFL. You never know in this NFL.
All right, man. Last bit of football news before we last bit of like it, love it, or hate it news. Last two topics we have. One, the Darius Mack. Is that his name? I want to say his name right.
Yeah.
Darius Mack, unsigned rookie free agent, just signed with Chicago Bears. But there's another Mack there who happens to be his older brother. Possibly the best linebacker.
Big Mac.
I got a question.
Big Mac. I'm gonna put that on. What's the question?
So in college, they both went to Buffalo. They're brothers.
Quiet school.
They both
But
won
stay
number
with-
52. Who keeps it?
That's a question.
That's not a question. Big Mac. That's not a question. Rob, you answer that question.
What's having 52?
I want my number.
You can want it all you want to. If John is star, you ain't getting it.
We're gonna work something out.
There's
I'm
nothing-
trying to do a push-up challenge or something.
Look, bro.
Changing my number.
Unless Mac doesn't
Trying
want
to
to
save
wait
my likeness? Got the wrong hunter.
Look, it won't be a throwback jersey. It still had the same last. What you mean? Crazy.
All my proceeds.
Oh, yeah, I like this look.
I like it, man. I like it. I like the fact that the Chicago Bears did their due diligence to go out and do the research on him, and they said that he does have the ability to rush the quarterback effectively. And he's going to play DE. And why not make your best player even more happy by adding his little brother there? So I don't see how this doesn't. And you didn't use the draft pick, so love it.
I love it from a family point of view where athletes can see your brother eat too. You know what I mean? And that's one less bill to feed. And one less people to mouth to feed. He got everybody coming at him. We're going to have to separate this.
Darius. Y'all gonna talk a little Mac.
I still need my car payment paid.
Now you see where I'm going.
It's on you.
I get 300,000 this year, baby. I'm undrafted.
Yeah, but I love it. I love seeing like brothers on the field. Like when I see the McCourys on the field, when I see the Griffins on the field, you know.
Who the Griffins?
Shaquem.
Oh, okay, yeah. The Edmonds twins, Tremaine and Terrell, the safeties and the linebacker. One play for Bill, one play for the Steelers.
Yep, and the Joneses.
Morris twins.
Yep.
This is great. So,
I'm gonna like this move, and I'm glad you said the Morris twins because that's the part that kind of makes me not like this move.
Okay.
If we were talking about the Griffins, where they were already both draft picks, they were both. I mean, they weren't high draft pick. I believe one was a high draft pick. The cornerback was taken in the first round.
The linebacker was undrafted, I believe.
He wasn't undrafted. He was drafted. They drafted him. They drafted.
No, he was undrafted.
He was undrafted.
Yeah, the linebacker was undrafted.
Then I can't even use them as an example. I'm just thinking in a scenario where he doesn't live up to the expectations and they have to cut him. That's what I'm thinking about. So
you got your cut. You got your little chicken.
You got it
in the league.
I gave you an opportunity, bro. That's the best I can do. I can't make the GM sign you. I mean, I could, but I can't.
You know, friction.
I'm not LeBron James now. If it was like let's see.
Now, do we keep
Aaron Donald? Then yeah, he can make him do that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But Khalil Mack, I think he's gonna. I think Ladarius Mack is going to prove his worth. Mm-hmm. He's going to learn from the other team, the great defensive players on the team. He's going to get his opportunities and he's going to capitalize on it.
I hope so. I hope so. If he's good,
they just need him to be an edge rusher on third down, bro. Like they got a front seven, they got linebackers, they got corners, they got their safety. Like they just need. That was a piece that to me we're going to help our defense is high risk, high reward, low risk. If he's great, we got to steal.
Low risk.
If he's terrible, well, we just undrafted. We ain't wasting nothing. We made Khalil Mack happen for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. All right. Lastly, your boy. Well, I guess I have to say my boy because he played for my team more than he did any of your teams. But Kendrick Perkins, he dropped his top 5 list of small forwards. And his list was
killing me, man.
He my boy.
LeBron at 1, Bird at 2, Pippen at 3, KD at 4, Paul Pierce at 5. Those are his best 5 small forwards of all time. You guys like, love, or hate this list?
I like it. I like it for the fact that I feel he went with who are the best small forwards because of what they've done in their career. However, I feel like he left someone off of this list that he homed OD, and I'm not even mad at it. Dr. J should definitely be on this list, hands down. He should be on this list before Kevin Durant, before Paul Pierce, maybe even Scottie Pippen. To me, but I like the list.
Okay.
I hate the list, man.
Of course you do.
Perkins, he just don't like KD, man. I mean, they just go at it all the time. First and foremost, last show we had a conversation about who's better between Bird and Bird and KD. And you was just on the edge. KD killed Bird. And it wouldn't even be a conversation. And then he's 7 foot. And he can jump over. And now you're saying that you like the list that got Bird number 2?
I'm going to tell you why. Because Larry Bird stayed on his team. He ain't going to join the Lakers and say we're going to win championships.
Talking about
and this is why I got and this is why I respect
talent.
Talking about
talent. Do you think?
And this is why I respect Perkins' list. And this is the point what I'm talking about. When it comes down to the all-time greatness, KD, no, you would not be better than Bird. You would not be better than LeBron. You would not be better than Pippen. You wouldn't be better than Pippen. No, you better than Dr. J. But till you get your own championship. Until then,
it depends.
Number 4.
It depends on how you're looking at the list. If Perkins is making a list and his list is based off of, who's been more dominant, who's been more important to winning teams, to winning culture, that's what it looks like this list is about. That's how I see Paul Pierce making this list.
Ron, Bird, Pippen, KD.
I don't think anyone's denying that KD, and again, I say this to you all the time, and I think we'll be saying this till we're gray in the face. I don't think anyone denies the skill, talent level of Kevin Durant when it comes to his place on skill, being good at the game of basketball. I don't think anyone denies that he is one of the best talents we've ever seen, period. Top 5, period. No position. Top 5 talented player, period. the way that his career is playing out is going to make him lesser. Is it going to make him a lesser legend, bro? That's just what it is. That's just what it is. I watched Bird, and he wasn't fortunate to be drafted to. Yes, he was. That's not even fair because he was fortunate to draft into a team with a bunch of star players. They just was all drafted around the same time, and no one let them mature together. No one let all.
So he drafted to a bad organization.
Right. So he wasn't drafted. He wasn't drafted to a prominent organization.
No,
because you gotta remember, he was drafted to an organization that. Well, technically,
they were real. And they just
blew
started.
Up. Yeah, they
blew
just
everything
started.
up.
Yeah. OKC had just moved into that town, so.
But it was the same ownership from a successful organization in Seattle.
Yeah.
Was the same? Yes, they moved the team.
From Seattle to
They moved the team. They ain't say we selling the team. No, we moving from Seattle. We going to Oklahoma City because we like how the fans treated them.
They successful, but they had the number 2 pick the year before.
What I'm saying is they had Ray Allen, they had Gary Payton, they had chances to go to the finals.
So you say
it's not like they the freaking Bengals. They ain't never won a playoff game.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But
they don't know how to win.
They
big.
I say
all the time.
Big. They blew the team up.
So that's
too
like
soon.
saying Phoenix don't know how to win.
Big. They don't know how to win big.
They blew the team up too soon with James Harden, and then Kevin Durant blew it up some more with going to Golden State. And at the end of the day, bro, I if I'm playing 2K and I got first in a fantasy draft of the players of right now, Kevin Durant is probably my number 1 pick.
Probably mine too.
If I had a street bowl tournament and all the best players that are alive right now came and lined up and I had first pick, I'm taking Kevin Durant. I've seen what he's done in Rucker. But at the end of the day, when I'm stacking him up, and I've said this to you before, years before, when it comes to the legendary part of this, his legendary status will be tainted.
Well, his legend's not over. He still got years to play.
Right? He
still got years to redeem himself.
Right. Which is, it seems like
I don't even believe it should be called redeem, but I'm going to say it for the sake of the argument. And he's going to redeem himself, and we'll see if Perk's list changes then. I think that Perk list still won't change. I think that he just don't like the man. In all honesty, he's going to be like Isaiah and Mike. That's exactly what it's going to be like.
Chips, he'll move up to number 3 to me.
Hey, if KD went back-to-back chips, you have a legitimate argument for LeBron James. If KD wins back-to-back chips outside of Golden State, you have an argument for LeBron James. I think he tops that argument if he goes back to OKC and gets one. But
I'm gonna say,
that's where I'm at with KD. All right, we'll have a conversation about that on a later show. I know you're gonna pencil that out, y'all. We're gonna end it with this. We'll jump into this for a little bit. Shout out to my boy Anthony DeShields, JR Snipes on Facebook. Good time, long time friend of ours.
Huge supporter of the show.
Huge supporter of the show. Our guy, John. Y'all share the same birthday, right?
Yep.
Right, John.
January 21st.
Birthday twin. He posted a question on Facebook not too long ago, and it was a picture. We deep dive and we love to find things like this and debate them. And it was about 5 players that had amazing careers, and we're wondering which one of these their amazing careers were cut short by injury, and we're wondering which one we're gonna debate which one would have had the best career. Mm-hmm. Who would take him with the best career had it not been for injury? And
can I ask a question? When we're asking this question, are we taking into account the players on their teams when they played?
You take into account whatever you want.
Right?
Okay. You make your list, you feel me?
Say less.
Not necessarily your list when you say
argument.
when you make your argument, you feel me? The 5 players, and please make sure I got these right. I got Penny Hardaway.
Mm-hmm.
I got Grant Hill.
Mm-hmm.
I got Derrick Rose.
Mm-hmm.
I got Brandon Roy.
Mm-hmm.
And I have Tracy McGrady.
Yep.
T-Mac. John. So I want to start by saying, growing up, as you guys know, we're family. And growing up, this was the Kobe diehard.
I was
And
definitely
this is the
T-Mac.
T-Mac diehard. And a lot of you not. Me being the neutral, not necessarily the neutral person, but the person that kind of picks a side with these two. Or picks my own side and let these two go at it. I remember a time where the argument nationwide, or at least New York wide, was who's better, Kobe or T-Mac? And I was definitely Team T-Mac at the time. Granted, careers played out and Kobe won 5 championships. T-Mac made it out of the first round of the
And I remember
playoffs.
certain people saying, Kobe would never win a championship without Shaq.
And here we are. When I look at this 5, I'm like, yeah, this is tough because T-Mac was arguably one of the best players in the league at the time. Derrick Rose is an MVP and Rookie of the Year winner. Grant Hill's numbers are ridiculous. Penny Hardaway was dogging Jordan in them. He dropped 40 on Jordan in one game in the playoffs, right?
45 Jordan. 45 Jordan, not 23. 45.
45 Jordan. And then you got Brandon Roy, who played on a team that when their 3 stars were healthy, him, Greg Oden, and LaMarcus Aldridge, they went 72-10 in the range of 3 seasons. I preference that with 3 seasons because it took them 3 seasons to get
Played 82 games
together.
all 3 of them together.
Right. So these guys were all 5 of these guys were really, 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 really good, and they didn't even get full autonomy on their career. So what?
Saying who has the highest
What
ceiling?
we got, man?
I'm gonna preface this by saying, D-Roy, I love you. I tried to do it, but I can't. I just want to give you a little shout out because you was my man's. You was like the next Kobe in my book. When you hit that
Definitely
game,
Mr.
all
Clutch,
that good
man.
stuff, man. I used to love you, man. You still the man, and I'm glad you coaching me.
You still the man.
You still
Talk
got people
about it.
playing. And Michael Porter Jr. one of your prospects. But anyways, I'm going with the dark horse.
Who's that?
Going with the kid from Chicago,
Oh,
the youngest
D-Rose?
MVP of all time.
Dark horse?
That's my dark horse, and I feel that he would have had the best career, barring injury, because we were. I probably say this about all these players, but like we were literally just seeing like the peak of like how good he really could be, and that Bulls team was solid, bro. Solid. Granted, they had to go against Miami and LeBron's dynasty in the East, and he was reigning. But I honestly think a healthy D Rose 2 to 3 years later, it'd have been a different story. I'm going with D Rose.
I concur.
You want to talk
You concur?
I concur. That was my pick.
That was
That was my pick,
okay.
D Rose, because when we look at all the greats, they always have that Game 7 series that almost crushed them, and then they come back the next year and dog. Jordan had it with the Pistons. Magic had it with the Celtics. You know what I mean? LeBron had it with the Celtics and others.
Kobe
D
had
Rose,
the Pistons.
Kobe had it with the Pistons. D Rose, his year after he won the MVP, went Game 7 with LeBron James.
Oh yeah, he was built.
They was 1 game away, son.
He was built. He
1 game away
still
from
improving.
and I think that if he didn't get hurt that season, we might have a different history in the NBA right now. The NBA might look differently. LeBron might not have as much championships he would have. I think that D Rose was really on that verge of dethroning the king, and then he tore his ACL.
I think LeBron's legacy might be a little bit better.
Because
Only
he's
because
still
he wanted to
the
make it to the final.
Might have been time.
So it might be instead of a 3-6, he'd be 3-4, 3-3, 3-2.
And I can see I can see that Bulls team winning the championship in 2.
His list is
Especially with
so
Tibbs.
hard for me.
Facts. D Rose
His list is
And
so
Jimmy
hard.
Butler was coming up at that time. Oh my god, what?
D Rose is. I think when you talk about D Rose's career and the longevity of it throughout those injuries, you know, he's come back, and I think we were talking about it last week. He's shooting the highest 3-point percentage that he's ever shot in his career. Back then, he was so athletically explosive that
his 32% was a
He
great.
didn't
Oh my
need-
God,
yeah.
you gotta watch out for him.
he didn't really need to shoot threes. You know, you can sag off of him, and he's taking a shot only because you're basically handing it to him, as opposed to you sagged off me and I can still get past you, or go over the top of you, or go around you. So when you think about what his injuries were, the fact that he tore both his knees, right? He tore both his knees, never really got going after he tore the first one. They usually say, sports people say, when you tear your knee, it take a year to get back because you got to play a year on it before you actually feel confident enough to do the things that you are used to doing.
On top of the year rehab.
Top of the year rehab. So you talk about 4 years now when you tore ACLs in both your knees, and it's not just. And I talk about this with KD. He didn't just break his wrist, or I look at Bogut where he broke his arm in 4 or 5 different places where it's, put you in the cast here, and after a while I fit when you lose your legs and you're an athlete. It means a lot more because you can't just come back and say, okay, I did my rehab, I did my year of being scared. Now I'm ready to do the same thing. No, your body really can't do some of the same things that it was able to do before. So I worry about that with KD now. But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I don't care what D Rose would have done.
All right, Dwayne Wade fan.
He wasn't beating Miami. He wasn't beating Miami.
They won him away.
Yeah, all right. So was Paul George in them 1 year.
But I'm saying instead of Paul George in them 1 year, it would have been D Rose in them for year 2, 3. And we would have got the pieces. Well, they would have got the pieces.
That was without Ray Allen. He ain't played against a Ray Allen Heat team. Miami ring got better too. Don't get it twisted. And also, for what it's worth, I don't like Carlos Boozer.
Me neither.
I don't think Joakim Noah was an offensive force. They were trash talkers that were good enough. If they can keep your game in the 80 to 90 range.
But that's why I like that Chicago Kings. They were a bunch of defenders,
Yeah.
bro.
And
All
Todd Gibson.
over.
It was dogs.
And Todd Gibson came in and played
Oh!
way
Todd
better.
Gibson dunked on D Rose that series.
Wrong. With Joakim. Back there. Switching everything. Hey.
With Jimmy
I
Butler.
hear you.
With Jimmy Butler. Young Jimmy.
Young Jimmy. Yo.
Young Jimmy is a great defender.
Great defender. Absolutely.
That's what we need.
That's when Jimmy was scoring 21.
Hey man, I saw that same Miami team go up against a non-hurt Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook.
Without Jimmy.
Kind of the same player. No, he didn't have Jimmy. He had Kevin Durant.
Yeah, but they didn't have that.
They had James Harden.
They had that deep.
They had Kendrick Perkins, who was supposed to he helped Boston defensively win the championship. That's what he was brought over for.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why they got rid of Jeff Green. Jeff Green was the guy. Jeff Green was the
First of all,
guy.
Tom Thibodeau is not.
And Serge
Tom
Ibaka, who
Thibodeau
was
is not Scotty Brooks.
That's number one.
okay.
He's not going to call
He's a little
dumb defensive, offensive.
You know at the same time Thibodeau that got booted from Minnesota when they
Who made the playoffs in that?
and AC with Jay Butler and Karl Anthony Towns.
They made the
and all them
playoffs.
star
They
players.
made the playoffs,
Alright.
and they had that same exact team. They was getting smoked before.
Okay.
So Tibbs makes a difference.
Does it make a difference?
Tibbs makes a difference.
I like Tibbs.
Number two,
I like Tibbs. I like Tibbs.
It's
I like
Scotty
Tibbs.
Brooks. Not saying he's
Way better than Scotty Brooks.
He ain't a Brad Stevens like that, but he better than Scotty Brooks.
and
That's
number
what I'm
two,
saying. He ain't the guy that was going to
and
bring him
number
over.
two,
He ain't better than X
the
Bosa.
Bulls had an identity.
Tibbs ain't better than X
The
Bosa.
Bulls had an identity. The Bulls had an identity. They're not sticking away from their game plan. They executed flawlessly. What was OKC identity? Give the ball to Russ. Give the ball to James. Give the ball to KD. Let them go. Let them work out. They wasn't defensive. They wasn't defensive.
They ain't really.
They didn't change.
That's my biggest problem with them. They ain't really call plays. Like
And they didn't call plays.
basically let them just do whatever they wanted to do, and they would find people. Don't get it twisted. You know, Russell Westbrook averaged eight assists a game in that championship season. Serge Ibaka was a huge part of it. They were great on-ball defenders, but did they have the defensive schemes that Tom Thibodeau put together?
All the defenders just in general. You had Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose, Luol Deng. People forget about him. Joakim Noah.
That's why Jimmy wasn't seeing the
You had Ronnie Brewer.
Mm-hmm.
Another defender.
That's why he had to play defense.
Did they have, was Ben Gordon wasn't a part of this team?
No, Ben Gordon
was
was
gone by.
It's obvious that me and John love these teams. Love that Derrick Rose pick.
I like that Derrick Rose pick too.
Who you got?
I want to change it up only because I had Derrick Rose too, and I don't want to.
I picked my second one.
I don't
Shoot.
wanna leave the
I ain't
other
want to
four
pick
guys.
that was my last minute pick. What pick am I going to pick at first?
I'm gonna tell you, if I had to choose someone outside of Derrick Rose,
I'm going to tell you, I'm
it'd be
choosing.
Brandon Roy. I'm going with T-Mac.
I'm going with T-Mac.
And I understand why you're going with T-Mac,
bro.
and I love T-Mac as an option, but at the end of the day, my list would look more like Perk's list in the sense of who's going to win, and I don't think T-Mac was. Unfortunately, he was a baller, but he was around for some of those playoff
You
series.
can't
his-
translate that at all.
Here's my
Couldn't
thing.
translate into wins.
Ty, I'm
bro.
glad you said Brandon Roy. His very best year was, I want to say it was 2013 or 2009, something like that. Anyways, long story short,
His best year.
that best year was the year, his best statistical year, they played against the Rockets in the playoffs. T-Mac was hurt that year.
and they
They
still
lost to the Rockets.
I hear
That same Rockets team went on to the Western Conference Finals and lost to the Lakers in 7. So,
7 or 6.
7.
Seven.
I remember game 7. We smoked game 7, I remember. Shout out to the general. This is going when he's going through his thing. But if T-Mac was healthy, he ain't play a game that playoffs at all. He ain't play a game that entire. He ain't play a game that playoffs.
I hear you, but all those guys.
To 7 with the
What I'm
Lakers?
trying to say to you is that team does not become that team if T-Mac is playing with them. Those 2 years, T-Mac had played 25 games and 30 games. So,
and this is if T-Mac was healthy. That's what we saying, right? That's what we saying, right? So I'm saying a healthy T-Mac with that team is going to win at least one championship.
outside of when I look at these 5 players, I feel like T-Mac has given us the most health of all 5 of them.
T-Mac is also
he played in more games than
also give us the most production out of all the team.
I get that, but what I'm trying to say is T-Mac has had opportunities to show his worth.
We've seen his,
and I didn't see
it.
His ceiling is a scorer.
Listen,
His ceiling is a scorer. He never did an Allen Iverson.
I'm gonna say this. I love me some Brandon Roy.
Mm-hmm.
But now you asking Greg Oden to stay healthy.
There's more to. I'm asking Greg Oden to stay healthy. I'm also thinking if let's say Greg Oden didn't stay healthy, maybe they still turn that pick into Dame. Maybe he's playing on a team with Dame and LaMarcus Aldridge during their rookie
Dame got drafted 2 years after B-Roy got hurt though.
What I'm saying to you.
So what I'm saying to you is
a
a healthy B-Roy, they don't get that 6th overall pick.
Possibly not. Right.
Because I was about the same thing too in this conversation. But they don't get that. Hell no, they don't get that 6th overall pick. It ain't a playoff. They ain't off the board. He a lottery pick. Guaranteed. They was talking about him being top 5. If not, definitely lottery pick. So
I'm looking at it with the team that he had in place. I look at Brandon Roy and the type of player that he was. He was the closer. He was the finisher. He reminds me of Joe Johnson, Kobe Bryant, those guys that you can rely on in the last 4 minutes of the game. And when don't violate, they may have Steve Blake. That's my guy, no point guard. Steve Blake a baller. Anywho,
exactly what you just said. Exactly what you just said.
Steve Blake.
I
a
love
baller.
Steve Blake, but that's like saying Jordan Farmer a baller.
Nah, don't put Steve Blake.
They about the same, a good solid backup point guard. They both good solid backups.
Jordan Farmer play a little bit more defense than Steve Blake.
I'd rather have Steve Blake over.
Can get you a bucket.
I'd rather have Steve Blake over Farmer, but they're both max backup point guards. They're not starters.
Yeah, and Steve Blake was definitely starting at this time. So I'm thinking Brandon Roy simply because he just, I just when I look at, I can't tell you much about Penny.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you a little bit about Grant Hill, but I can tell you about Derrick Rose, T-Mac, and Brandon Roy. And when I look at those 3 and I see a winning scenario, it's Brandon Roy. I see a championship caliber player in Brandon Roy. Now that's not to say that he wasn't going to be one of those 2, but T-Mac got a chance to show me.
Can I ask you this though?
Yeah.
This is everyone's healthy. Grant Hill was on that Orlando team
with T-Mac.
Hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So T-Mac, healthy.
Yeah, 3 of these 5 players played with Orlando. 3 of these 5 players best years with Orlando.
Bad luck with injuries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with it. I'm gonna go with Brandon Roy. You guys both have Derrick Rose, so I'm going with Brandon Roy only because you guys have Derrick Rose. Shout out to Derrick Rose. I like the way his career. I like the way he resurged the last 2 years. That he had this resurgence. I wish Detroit was actually good this year, so we could see Derrick Rose in another playoff scenario. But also, more importantly, I'm just happy to see him on the field. Nah.
His career isn't derailed by injuries. It's not derailed. Like
these guys.
These guys. They just
they never recovered after they got hurt.
Mm-hmm. But
only made performance afterwards.
That's it.
I think that's it though, y'all, man. Try to cut the show short, keep it condensed, and give you as much information as possible within the hour of time that we allot for you. So, thank you for joining us. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. That's 3 The Hallway. Facebook page.
3 The Hallway.
Instagram is 3THW_. All of this stuff will be up on the screen. Do not worry.
YouTube is 3THW Podcast.
And when you type that in, it's going to ask you if you mean 3 The Podcast, and you don't. You mean THW, not THD. And then on
Apple Music, we are 3 The Hard Way with 3 Ys.
3 The Hard Way.
Sure.
And that also
yes, also for iHeartRadio too.
So yes. So we are out there, y'all. Check us out. We will see you next week.
Yes, sir.
Peace. I don't got no roll cutters this week. John, you need to shave your beard. I mean, you need
Bear coming back soon.